The NHL Draft Lottery is now complete. We know who won. We know the order for the first in 16 selections. We'll discuss the winners and do a mock draft coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, the NHL Draft Lottery just completed on the air. We now know who won the top 2 spots in the full order from 1 down through 16. So the team with the best odds to win first overall, the Montreal Canadiens, have indeed won and will retain that right to pick number 1 overall. It'll be the first time in a long time that the team hosting the draft also holds the first overall selection. Maybe today was a little bit of a good luck charm. May the 10th day today. Of course, number 10, Guy Lafleur, recently passed away. And today's also an anniversary of a really big, important goal that Guy Lafleur scored way back as well in the 70s. So certainly, it's kind of like, just seems fitting, if you will, that the Habs had the good luck to win the draft lottery today. The New Jersey Devils continue their lottery luck as well. If you watched the preview video I put out earlier, looking at what to expect, looking back at the history of this lottery, the Devils have picked first overall on multiple occasions recently where they get Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, and neither time did they have the best odds at getting the first overall pick. They seem to do very well when they're in that 3 to 5 range. They tend to move up. It's just something that's a little bit uncanny here, but of course they're going to have to start getting better so they're not in this draft lottery over and over again. And of course now there's a rule you can only win twice in a 5-year span. So we'll see how this impacts them moving forward. So Montreal will pick 1, New Jersey will pick 2, and everybody else will be bumped down. Arizona, Seattle, etc., all the way down to 16. So let's hop onto the computer, and we're going to complete the mock draft based on the actual results now and who I feel these teams will select based on today, based on what we know about these players as of right now. No doubt the Montreal Canadiens picking first overall will indeed select Kingston Frontenac's captain Shane Wright, as we've been talking about for some time, the consensus number 1 overall pick for quite some time now. A real solid two-way player, will be an excellent complement to Nick Suzuki as a 1-2 punch down the middle for the Montreal Canadiens for a long time to come. They're going to be picking first overall in their own building for the first time in a long, long time, and it's time the Habs get themselves another top player to help get them out of this rebuild and start working their way back to respectability. Picking at number 2, we have the very lucky New Jersey Devils, and I have them taking the big Slovak winger Jerard Fagerberg. To me, I think they have some solid center icemen down the middle, so I think they're going to go for the 6'4" Slovakian winger, who's a real big, strong scoring threat here. I mean, he had a terrific Olympics, terrific season leading up to that as well. To me, he's an ingredient that the Devils do not have. They may surprise us and still, if they feel Cooley is the best player available, might go that route. But to me, I think this is an ingredient that would fit well with Hughes and Hischier up front, be a way to protect them with the size, and at the same time add another offensive threat. Third, we have the Arizona Coyotes, and with me having Slafkovsky go number 2, that leaves Logan Cooley here for Arizona. Arizona really needs a little bit of everything. They could use a top center, they could use a scoring winger, they could use a top defenseman, heck, they could use a franchise goaltender, but they're going to probably end up having to take who they feel is the best player available on the draft board. It will not matter who that is, and if this is the way things go, Logan Cooley will be that guy. If the Devils go a different route and Slafkovsky is still on the board or Kemmel, then one of those players will be who the Coyotes pick. But to me, it makes sense with the Devils going the way they did that Cooley falls to the Coyotes. Picking at number 4, we have the Seattle Kraken in their second draft here, and they're going to take Finnish winger Joakim Kemell. Now, of course, they need scoring. They need it in the worst way, and he can provide that. He and Slafkovsky are going to likely both be top 5 picks, just a matter of how the teams feel about them. Some feel Kemmel's offensive upside might be a little bit higher than Slafkovsky, but I've seen the opposite too. Some feel that Slafkovsky, with his size and strength, has a little bit better opportunity to be successful here. So we'll see, but he would be a terrific scoring winger for the Kraken to add to that anemic offense they had in the first season. Number 5, we have the Philadelphia Flyers, and they're going to take the top D on the board, Simon Nemec. To me, the Philadelphia Flyers have an opportunity here. There are some forwards still that would be a good selection, but I think the next couple of spots are going to be defensive picks here once we get past the top 4 elite forwards, in my opinion, in this draft. Nemec is a real solid defensive prospect here. You could probably argue that he and David Jiricek are able to flip-flop, depends on which one you like better. But I mean, really, overall, I'm not sure you can really go all that wrong with this pick. I mean, Simon Nemec is a good size, 6 feet, 190 pounds. The Slovakian defenseman is a complete package and projects to be, a real solid top 4, maybe top pair defenseman at the NHL level. At number 6, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets by way of Chicago with the Seth Jones trade, and they'll take the other top D, David Jiricek from the Czech Republic. Of course, he's got a little bit more size than Simon Nemec. He's 6'3", a little bit heavier as well, closer to 200 pounds. So Jiricek certainly is a player that's going to be a real good, solid defensive prospect. Actually, he and Nemec are pretty much the same weight, but he is taller, 6'3", compared to 6 feet. So certainly, like I said, many scouts feel these two defensemen are comparable as far as rankings go, but they do give you a little bit different style. I saw one scout recently compare Jiricek's game to that of Islanders defenseman Noah Dobson, who really emerged this past season. A solid top right shot defenseman with some real good offensive instincts. So we'll see where things go, but I think he'd be a good fit in Columbus. At number 7, we have the Ottawa Senators, who have never picked 7th before, and I have them selecting Matthew Savoie from the WHL's Winnipeg Ice. Now, this might be an off-the-board pick for Ottawa. I know in all of our mock drafts, I've never had Savoie going to the Sens before, but after really thinking about it and giving it more consideration, I really think he'd be another dynamic forward for them. I'm not sure at number 7 that they're going to be able to get a defenseman that's really going to help their overall team. Like if Jiricek and Nemec are off the board, then Savoie, to me, even though he's listed as a center, could he not maybe be a dynamic forward to play with Timmy Stützle? They know they need another winger to complement that second line. Stützle has started as a winger, has been a center. Savoie could be a similar kind of player, maybe goes the other way. They might complement each other extremely well and could get that extra dynamic forward that they really need without going into the trade market. At number 8, we have the Detroit Red Wings, and I have them selecting Swedish forward Jonathan Lekkerimäki. This just feels like a Detroit pick. I mean, Steve Yzerman has had a lot of European-born players that he selected in his 4 years as GM. The Red Wings, as of a history as a whole, having a lot of success going to Europe for some of their top selections, even some of their late selections for that matter. But in the case of Lekkerimäki, I think he's a real solid winger that will complement the Detroit Red Wings system here pretty well. I mean, at the number 8 spot, a lot of the more elite level players are already going to be off the board here. So to me, I think Yzerman will like this pick and would be a good fit. Number 9, we have the Buffalo Sabres, and I have them taking U.S.-born player Jimmy Snuggerud for the national team in the United States here. They have a lot of good young players on this U.S. National Team Development Program this year. And Snuggerud, to me, just seems like a real solid player who just, to me, feels like a Buffalo Sabre. He's a real solid scoring winger. I mean, he may not be the greatest defensively, but to me, I think he's a solid, at least second-line winger who can give you a solid 20 to 30 goals if he hits his full potential. Of course, like I said, to me, if you look at where the Buffalo Sabres are at with drafting this year, what they already have in the pipeline, to me, he'd be a good complement to their young group of forwards that they've already been acquiring here in the last little while. At number 10, we have the Anaheim Ducks, and I have them taking another very solid offensively gifted defenseman, Russian-born Pavel Mintyukov, who's certainly going to be a very interesting guy to watch at the draft. He's been a high top riser late into the season here. Continues to rise every time you see an updated version of the draft rankings. To me, with the Anaheim Ducks recently depleting their blue line with guys like Manson and Lindholm being traded, certainly can give more opportunity to a guy like Jamie Drysdale. But they're going to need more young D to come in and replace those guys. And he's been playing in the OHL here, Mintyukov, in the OHL for Saginaw. Had a real solid offensive season there, put up some real solid numbers, been a top riser, and I think he'd be a good fit in Anaheim with where things are at. At number 11, we have the San Jose Sharks, and I have them selecting Russian prospect Danila Yurov. Now, Yurov's a player who, depending on where you look, is kind of up and down on the draft rankings, but I think some teams are going to shy away from the Russians because of what's going on in the world, and some other teams are not going to, and they're going to be the ones who cash in later once everything kind of settles down. Yurov might have had, a bit of an up and down year, but overall he has 36 points in 23 games playing over in Russia in the KHL. A dynamic prospect that I think some teams might shy away from, but to me, I think San Jose is a team that will take a chance here and bring the Russian into their organization. At number 12, we again have the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I have them with their other selection, taking Cutter Gauthier, another U.S.-born player for the United States National Team Development Program. He was number 2 on that team in goals, had a real solid offensive output, certainly a player who's not afraid of the physical game. And to me, if you look at the Blue Jackets here, they can walk away from this draft with David Jiricek and Cutter Gauthier. I think they've done themselves a pretty solid job in adding a couple new intriguing prospects to their organization. At number 13, we have the New York Islanders, and I have them taking another defenseman here, Kevin Korchinski of the WHL Seattle Thunderbirds. Korchinski's another solid two-way defenseman with some good offensive instincts in this draft. To me, in previous mock drafts, I've had the Islanders selecting Pavel Mitnyakov, but the way he's been rising, I have a funny feeling some teams drafting higher than the Islanders here might not allow him to be available at this 13th spot. So a guy like Korchinski might get bumped down enough to allow them, but the Islanders, to me, could certainly use some fresh talent on the D-core, and he would be a good selection here for them to achieve that. At number 14, we have the Winnipeg Jets, and I have them taking a Winnipeg Ice player from the WHL, and that's Connor Geekie. Now, Connor Geekie is another player who's kind of fallen a little bit recently on some draft ranking lists I've seen, but I'm just not really sure why. To me, he's still a real solid prospect. He's got great size. He's a big body, already NHL maturity that way. Has a lot of offensive instincts as well. And to me, the Jets can have an opportunity to get themselves a big, strong, capable center iceman here. There's a lot of uncertainty in the Jets center ice position within the team. We don't know the future of Mark Scheifele. Will he be traded? What's going to happen with him? Can they sign Pierre-Luc Dubois long term? Besides those guys, there's not much in the pipeline as far as dynamic players go, especially with size and strength. And to me, he would be a good player to fit in this team. It might take a year or two to get him there, but that's okay. To me, he'd still be a terrific fit. At number 15, for the first time in their team's history, is the Vancouver Canucks. And I have them taking another U.S.-born player, Isaac Howard, who is another offensive dynamo from this U.S. national team. The Canucks at this spot here wouldn't be shocking, to be honest, if they even considered trading the pick. I wouldn't be totally surprised in that if they're able to get a player who can help them immediately at the NHL level, take this team a step forward. We know they're also in on Andrei Kuzmenko as well. So to me, I'm not really sure what they're going to do here. But if they hold the pick, a guy like Howard would be a good option. Not an overly big guy, but a really offensively talented forward. Might take a couple of years after going through college hockey before he makes the jump. But I think they'd be in a position to ride that out and wait here while they continue on with the NHL level players they have in their system now. To me, I think Vancouver could consider taking a defense here. But with all the D already gone in this draft, I think they might just go for best player available. And the last pick in our mock draft today, number 16 is the Buffalo Sabres, and I have them taking Frank Nazar, another U.S.-born player for the National Team Development Program. Another guy to me that just kind of feels like a Sabre, along with Jimmy Snuggerud, his teammate on that team. To me, Frank Nazar is a player who's kind of up and down a lot of the draft rankings here as of late, but he's a smaller player, but he's an offensive dynamo, really talented kid that I think the Buffalo Sabres would be more than willing to take a chance on. Another guy from this program who's going to be going to college hockey. Majority of these U.S.-born players on the national team are going to be doing that, so they won't really see many, if any at all, going directly to the NHL. So to me, Nazar is a good fit in Buffalo. They have a good core group of players there that can continue to play while he continues to develop. And in the meantime, he can play his college hockey and make the jump in a couple of years' time. But those are your top picks. Let me know what you think down below and we can discuss in the comment section. Otherwise, thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.